right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and we're rolling into the end of the year and the holiday season and feeling stressed for the holiday. Here's how we can help. I love that title. It's so obviously, a lot of people don't realize how much chiropractic would help them through the holidays. They don't.
Yeah, I know. So if you are stressed and you're watching this, raise your hand. Drop us a comment. And let us know, are you feeling stressed for the holidays? I know this patient that just left, she does charcuterie and she is busy. She said she was at her place of work at 4 a.m. this morning, and she will probably be there till 1 o'clock tonight. So her days are very long and very stressful. And when I was adjusting her, I was like in her mid back area. I'm like, do you feel that? Or do just I, cause you know how it is. We can feel all that stress and tension built up. And she's like, oh no, I feel it. And I feel it all the time. And I was like, okay, so I gave her a good extra stretch. And then she was really difficult to adjust today. So when that tension gets built up like that, it just causes such a binding on the spine. And so it really requires some finesse in order to be able to get the body to relax to a point where we can create some movement and get that mobility back.
Yeah, I would.
But imagine like making charcuterie. She's standing over these boards for multiple hours of the day.
Well, plus she's probably, to carry and haul in, should she make them out of her home or someplace where she's got to carry in all those supplies, and we're going to carry them in with as few bags as possible. So I'm sure it's a lot of hauling and lugging. And then if you had a big board, it would be also carrying, but it's just lifing, right? I had a patient just now, he hasn't been in since September, and he's like, I know. And he said, well, since over the last month, he said, I have pain to an alarming point all the way up and down.
I got to fix my speaker. So you keep talking.
All the way up up and down his entire spine. And he said, I'm kind of getting worried. I'm like, okay. I said, are you hydrated? He said, no. I'm like, well, chronic dehydration will do that. Cheers, everybody out there, as I drink my water here. But we have to keep doing everything that we need to do. And when we have overall global diffuse pain, chronic dehydration, that in and of itself will lead to that. But also I'm like, we don't get it. I know we don't get a chance to not be taking care of our spines. And I got to tell you, if you're out there and you're not taking care of your spine, I really don't know what you're waiting for. I really don't. I have a family member in earlier this week, and he's a super athlete, like superhero level athlete. And, he could come in every week. He's local. He could come in every week. And I've been telling him, you really, really should consider getting your spine checked on a regular basis every single week, because we're going to just age better. And then he said, last night I got a text, my hips feel way better after my adjustment. Thank God for you. And I said, good, I'm glad. Stick with regular adjustments and we will all age well. Also deliberately hang regularly. I was just telling him to decompress the spine. And he said, yeah, I'm here with you. And yes, this beat up ship is not ready for the harbor yet. And it was just like, yeah, we are too young. And if you're not taking care of your spine, you're going to be late to the party to do so. That's just ultimately what's going on. What's happening over there? Are you still with me?
I'm still here. You're crackling coming through my speaker.
Oh,
so I just want to make sure. I think it's probably fine because my speaker was crackling earlier as well.
Okay, yeah. You sound perfectly clear. So
okay, I think we're fine. I was trying to jump it over back to the other speakers, but I don't know. I think we'll just keep going and hope for the best here. So yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So that's good though that he reached out to you. And I think just having that conversation with people about the stress is fight or flight. So the stress of the holidays is just like running from a saber-toothed tiger each and every day as we go through the holiday season. And we come out the other side just completely haggard. We just, it's like we've just gotten beat up as we go through this process. And it's so critical that we do what we need to be doing to manage our nervous system. And I know, like, I wasn't able to go to yoga last weekend. And so between chiropractic care and yoga, that's really what grounds me. And boy, I'm feeling this like underlying smoldering of angst from all the things. So, it does make a difference. Definitely, I'll be at yoga on Saturday and Sunday. So I'll get to go on my normal Saturday and Sunday. And then, but I have to get adjusted. I haven't been adjusted this week. So I'm also feeling that. I was almost going to scoot out to see you on Tuesday. And then my Tuesday got sidelined from holiday stuff. So
no, I hear you. Just how it goes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But we got to try our best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think now I'm on an echo through your side now.
Are you? Okay, hold on. Let me turn this away. Okay. Try that. Let's see. Is that better?
I still hear it, but it's not like it was.
Okay. Let me hold on one second. Let me give it a second. See if I can jump it back over to. Let me get out of here. I want to get off of this one. Okay, say something.
Can you hear me still?
Could you keep saying testing?
Yeah, testing. Can you hear me?
Testing, nothing. Got nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we there? I hear you.
What in the world? I think I just screwed it up. Audio. Here we go. Default mic. Test speaker. No. Testing. No. Test. Oh, here we go. Test. No. You guys hold tight.
I hear you. What are you doing?
I probably should have checked this before we went live. And yeah, testing. Oh my gosh, now I'm frozen. There we go. Speakers. There it is. There. Okay, say something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
You're back on the non-echoey speaker.
Okay,
right?
Good.
Is the echo gone?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Which, by the way, if you're the one hearing the echo, it's not you. It's definitely because the person who's giving the echo doesn't hear the echo.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
So, anywho, okay, so you were just running the train there for a second. So what are you seeing in your practice this week with everybody?
So I had the most interesting conversation. Well, there's a bunch of things. In fact, I always make a list as the week goes on. But there's a lot of people really super duper concerned about their symptoms. So I had this patient, I think I might have discussed her last week. She was getting off a plane. She got hit in the head and by a water bottle that fell out of somebody's backpack that was in the overhead bin. And anyway, so I've been adjusting her. She's slowly getting better and better and better. And she said to me the other day, she was face down on the table and I was over at my computer for a second doing my stuff. So my computer and my adjusting table are right next to each other. And I'm putting in some notes and some different things, some of the things that she's sharing with me. And then she lifts her head up off the table and she says, really, what I'm really concerned about is that I have spinal cancer. And I'm like,
God.
Okay. And she's young and she does, I know. But I'm like, we are, as humans, we have a negative bias. We just have that going on it's in our DNA. It's in our imprinting because back in the days when we had to flee from saber-toothed tigers, like you were talking about earlier, and that fight or flight, that was so that we would stay alive. And so, but now what's gone on is we got to turn the TV off because people are getting these messages and they're so deeply implanted. She just is like, you know what? She said, what I'm really concerned about is I'm like, we can send out for imaging at any time that you want to. You just run right down the street, 1 block from here. We'll get some x-rays done if that's what you want. And so then she was in today. I said, that's not what you have. That's not what's going on. You have an injury. It's injured. It's in the lower cervicals. Well, why don't I feel better? And I said, here's the thing. I know you're feeling better. We've already talked about this. This was earlier today. She said, I know you say, she's like, I know you'll say, don't be worried about it. And I'm like, no, don't be worried about it. Here's what goes on. After 30 days, if nothing has changed, then it becomes clinically significant. I say really after 2 weeks of regular care, and she has been really regular with her care. I'm like, after 2 weeks, if nothing has changed, but things have changed. So now I need you to change the mindset and get it into something different, which is that you're capable, your body's able to heal, you're going to be just fine. But if you have that concern, then let's send you out for imaging so you can get rid of that concern, because that is not what's going on. The other thing is I had the same thing 3 days ago. It was actually Monday. This patient comes in and she's like, I have something really weird's happening. I have this tenderness like at the base of my skull back here, but it feels like my skull's bruised. I'm like, yes, that's the insertion of your suboccipital muscles. When they're working overtime, you're going to get tenderness right there, like it's a bruise, because those muscles are working overtime. There's a lot of inflammation building up there. And that is it. And that is it. It's not, you're not, there's, of course, there's concerns. There's place and time for emergency medicine. There's place and time for oncology, all of that. This isn't it. Not with a little bit of tenderness on your skull or this neck pain that's gone on because of an injury 2 weeks ago. That's standard care. So anyway,
when people are in that kind of pain, it's easy to think the worst, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just takes us to the depths of, oh my God, I'm dying. And it's like, no, you just had an injury, like you said. And we must be patient. And the more worried we are about it, the more we prevent our bodies from actually healing.
Exactly.
So breath work and chiropractic care come in really handy for those situations. When you're stressed, you have got to keep reminding yourself to calm it down, take it down a notch. Yeah.
Yep. Deep breaths, water, all, get adjusted, get your workouts in. And she was in this particular one. She was like, oh, I did a shoulder workout yesterday and I'm really sore and like locked back up on me today. I'm like, it's injured.
Yeah. Doesn't just go away overnight.
Change your workouts though. Change your workouts. Like if we feel that, we just change the workout.
Yeah. 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 I have an old shoulder injury. And there are days when I go in and if I feel it pinching, I'm like, I do different exercises. But actually yesterday, I actually did a pretty hard shoulder workout because it was feeling amazing. But I also know my limitations within that so that I don't flare it up. So yeah, you have to listen. You can't push through those things. That's not going to help anybody.
There was always this phrase lately as people are getting to the 3rd and 4th and 5th decade of life where we have to change our mindset that more plus more does not equal more at a certain point, because more plus more, and then your body's giving you signals and then you do more on top of that. That's okay. It's not really okay, but we're pretty resilient when we're in our teens and 20s to kind of manage that more plus more equals more, but that does not equal more anymore. It really doesn't. And Dr. Paula and I have worked with enough of our own individual injuries, and I'm still kind of working with one as well. And I just know, like for me, I haven't taken a break from working out in 30 years. I've taken a day here, a day there, maybe up to half a week, maybe a week. But I just keep going because my body does better. And it's like, you know what? Again, more plus more does not equal more. So let me get a little bit of walking in, let me get my steps in, and let me not worry about anything except for that for, I don't know, 6 to 12 weeks. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I've done now 2 weeks of that where I've stepped away from, my normal regular regime. But my normal regular regime would be leaving a class and also feeling for the next 36 hours a more intense discomfort. And so it's like, you know what, let me really let my body relax, really let my body recover. And again, like I said, I'm still getting my steps. I still have the Aura ring that counts for me. And I'm really looking forward to getting to the new year and really starting to kind of shift my ideas around this concept of more plus more does not equal more.
Yeah, I think it's great. It makes me think, I'm like, how many times have you had patients that come in, and for those of you listening, how many times have you said, well, I'm in pain, but I just push through. We're talking to you. It is not okay to just push through. Sometimes pushing through is necessary, but you also have to offer yourself grace and be able to know when to back down. And I mean, last weekend we had our huge event here, lighting up the Grand in town, and it was a long day. I got into town about noon. I knew I was going to be on my feet. We expanded the event, so it's always a busy day, but it ended up being like I didn't sit down until about 6:30. It was after the tree lighting. I mean, I was moving from one end of town. It was spread out all over town. And I remember telling you in one of my messages that morning, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go to yoga. I actually took that morning. I got up. I had a cup of coffee. It just stayed quiet. I worked on my computer a little bit. I just had a very quiet, relaxed morning because I knew I was going to have this big, long day. And I walked almost 9 miles. So I wasn't particularly worried. So that's when I said I didn't go to yoga. That really is like so great for me. But I knew that I was going to have probably going to yoga and driving the half hour and all of that. And then not, it's like, it's a lot of driving. And then I knew I had to be in town at a certain time. So that would have been stressful. So it's really like making those decisions of, okay, I'm not going to go to yoga, but I know I'm going to go walk my butt off the whole freaking day. So yeah, I walked close to 9 miles last Saturday, and I was pretty exhausted at the end of the day. I was pretty tired for a couple of days. So you just sort of pick and choose, and then offer your body that grace to be able to sit back and relax and have some quiet time, have some quiet moments. I love sitting in my living room in front of my tree and the lights are on, and it's so peaceful. Of course, it's just so full of holiday spirit. So, that also brings me joy and calms my nervous system when I'm immersed in that environment too.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, the one thing that I'm thinking about, just because I am taking this sort of like a little bit of a movement hiatus, and when I say that, it just is because I'm so accessible all the time. So, but while I'm doing this, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to really focus on the kitchen. I'm going to really focus on what I am and am not allowing to put in my body. And it's really interesting because there's so much that we really are doing with our health that has so much more to do with what we're putting in our bodies than anything else. I have this woman, she comes in every week, and I can tell that she's doing a lot of inflammatory things. And, then it'll be like, this week is this, and that week is the next thing, and then feeling good for a week, and then this, and then that. And it's like, okay, we really we cannot outrun, we cannot out exercise, out drink water, out anything, a shitty diet. And excuse my language, but we can't outdo a really crappy
Don't excuse her. She talks like that all the time.
I know. I try not to when it's being recorded, or especially when I'm in practice. But yeah. I'm like, it's just not, we can never work out enough to get really, outdo outdo really crappy stuff.
Well, and that's such a great point, because so yesterday I sent you a picture. Hey, Silly Lily, welcome in. Do that. And it's same thing. I've been super diligent about what I'm eating. In fact, I'm like tracking everything on an app because number one, because I just decided that I needed to get more in touch with what I'm eating and my macros, the ratios of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. I'm trying to get a certain amount of protein. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm getting enough. And so I better track it. And sure as heck, like it's an eye opener. So last night I went to a chamber event and I just had water. And then afterwards I was like, I didn't feel like going home and cooking. So I went to Karate's, which is this really amazing Italian restaurant. And I was like, okay, I don't want to just go break the bank. But they have one of my favorite things ever, and it's an arugula salad with roasted fennel, a little bit of shaved Parmesan, and then I get a piece of salmon to put on top. And that's what I got. Had no dressing. I didn't even need dressing on it. And then I had the shrimp Ernesto, which is shrimp with just tons and tons of garlic lemon sauce. So I had this really incredibly high protein diet. So I didn't feel bad at all, but I did have a martini. So
hi, Silly Lily. I'm not recognizing your name, and I actually cannot comment for whatever reason on my side. As soon as I share out on my platforms, I can no longer comment, but I did wanted to say hello, and we are happy to be here and happy to hear that feedback that chiropractors have made such a difference in your health. That's what we're out here doing. And, when you say that, some people say that a lot, but sometimes people can't really conceptualize when somebody says that, what that actually means. And so thank you for just sharing that, because we're trying to take what we're doing inside of the four walls and move it out into the world, a little bit more of our stories. So thanks for being here, and just wanted to acknowledge that. And why I don't comment is it doesn't allow me to. So
that's so bizarre.
It just does it. When I share it up on my social platforms from here, it just stops the ability, like it grays out my comment box.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so weird.
That's funny. Chiropractors and whiskey. I'll tell you, that martini made my back feel better yesterday.
Whiskey does help. Whiskey helps a lot.
Yeah. So, it's that. And actually, so I always like to sit at the bar when I eat. And so the bartender, and I, known him over the years just from going in there. And he, he's like, so what are you having? And I, and we started talking, and I said, yeah, I'm counting macros. And he goes, this is a tough time of year to do that. And I go, yeah, I know, which is why it's so important to do it. Mm-hmm. And he goes, no, he goes, I agree with that. And then he said, and he works out, like he's pretty fit. And he goes, but I'll eat all the sugar in the world if you let me. He goes, that's like my favorite, is anything with sugar. And so we got into this conversation about health, and that, some people would think it's crazy to try to really dial in your diet during the holidays. But I think it makes you, I think when I get the same way on vacation, when those are very indulgent times. And so I get even more hyper-focused on my food and my diet. And so I have so many patients that are coming in, and they're like, well, yeah, I feel terrible. But I'll wait till the beginning of the year. And I'm like, why? Mm-hmm. And so here I had this curiosity about my protein intake. Well, why would I wait? And I just started tracking maybe only 3 weeks ago. I could have easily said, I'll just wait to the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to. I was motivated to do it right then and there. So when you get that motivation, when you hear yourself with those little messages saying, I don't feel good and I'm not sleeping and I need to do something about it, do something today while you're feeling the pain of it. I heard something, I think it was in the podcast you sent me with Joe Dispenza and on School of Greatness. Mm-hmm. And he said that 80% of the time when people make drastic change in their lives, it's because of something dramatic that's happened in their lives. People don't just if you're pretty much status quo, but you need to make some changes, that's a really hard motivator. Mm-hmm. Like mediocrity is a hard motivator for people. People like mediocrity. It's comfortable there. It's like, I kind of have my mediocrity figured out and I don't want to make these massive changes. I mean, I am weighing all my food. Literally, I'm weighing it all. I'm tracking it all. But what I figured out, because I love potatoes, I'm actually eating more carbohydrates than I had been. And I'm dropping weight, which is really cool, but I'm keeping it within a certain measurement. And I'm eating sweet potatoes or yellow potatoes, every day in the air fryer. Eating healthy is great.
Yeah. Well, the other part, when you say that, why not now? What other time? But because you're doing it now, when all this stuff is not available, and not right in your face, and patients aren't bringing sweets in and treats, and you're not going to celebrations, like, because you've done it in the hard times, it's going to be so simple in the new year when you already have that momentum going. And we've talked about this over the last couple of weeks, like, you're already in that movement going forward. So you're not going to stop right at the starting line and have to stop from nothing. Like, you are already, and me too, like, we're already getting that movement and that momentum going for what we want to look like ahead. But you're just going to have so much momentum going in the new year. That's so great. Super great.
I keep thinking about, and we've had this conversation too, is that which direction do you want to move towards? Are you moving towards health? Are you moving towards sickness? And I was not necessarily moving towards sickness, but weight was creeping on, and it was weird. It was like, I have this supposedly healthy diet. What the heck is happening? So it's just interesting to, when you pay attention, like you drill down and you're like, well, clearly I'm missing something. And I'm the educator, right? Like this, but this is how we are. Dr. Eric and I we're constant students. How can we learn more? And wow, if we can use ourselves as the test and the platform, then why not?
Yeah, so, the N equals 1 experiment. That's what I always say. I'm like doing my own science experiment on my own self always, but that's that N equals 1, like one subject, and it's ourselves. So that's so great, because it is, what do they say? When you measure something, you can actually change it, or what's trackable is changeable. I can't remember how that saying goes, but it really is. It's eye-opening in the best way, in ways that we had no idea what was happening. In fact, so just kind of a side story, I have this Aura ring as a Gen 3, and I've been in a Gen 2. I had the first generation when Aura first came out. And if you haven't looked this up, reach out to us, because we both have a discount that we can offer to you if you ever wanted to get a tracking device. But so anyway, I had a Gen 1, and then I did the Gen 2, but my Generation 2 was losing battery power. So they said, we can clearly see there's something. I wrote to Aura, and they're like, we can clearly see, but your ring is out of warranty. So what we can do is we can send you one that hasn't been used, but was sent out and sized wrong or whatever. It was a repurposed ring. They sent me a Gen 3, which is a pretty major upgrade from the Gen 2. Yeah. And what it's doing is more accurately tracking steps than the Gen 2 was. And so what I'm realizing is, a lot of times on my app, it would be like, okay, you did this and this and this and this. And I would be like, it would almost like, it would err on the over generous side of working out, or over generous side of my movement, or my dog walking, or my walks, or my workouts, or whatever. And it would be over generous with it. And the Gen 3, I think, is more accurate. And it's not giving me generosity when it comes to movement, which is really interesting. And so I'm like, really have to look forward, in my days, and be like, okay, I am only at, 200 calories of my 300, or whatever. This is just an example of my 300 goal for the day. And that's like active burn calories in just a regular day. And I'm like, I normally would be at like maybe 450 by doing the same amount of stuff, but this Gen 3 is more accurate in counting that activity in particular and getting that tracked properly. So as I'm looking forward and taking this like movement, gym time, like little bit of a break from that, I'm like, also, your steps are slacking. Now that it's super accurate, it's like, you are slacking.
Hello. Well, and to talk about too, what with the Gen 3, there's so many more things. So I was just pulling up here. The one thing it started tracking is your daytime stress. Mm-hmm. So, and then I did, so let me preface this too. I saw somebody post something about the Aura ring in one of our groups, and she was like, oh my God, I didn't realize how stressed out I am. What do you suggest? How can I de-stress? Well, it also can be become a bit of an obsession. So you do have to make sure that you're managing that, right? That you're not like, and sometimes I'll wake up and I think I've slept really well. And then I'll look at it, it'll tell me I didn't. And I'm like, yeah. And I want to like throw the phone across the room. Like, I did sleep well. So you do find yourself in those moments, but daytime stress, and I wasn't wearing my ring yesterday. So, and it hasn't, it tracks your stress after, but this was 2 days ago. And it says, I was stressed for 1 hour out of the day. I was restored 1 hour and 30 minutes. And it says, I had a normal day. On this day, your body didn't experience many high stress peaks or restorative moments, a neutral day as far as your stress levels go. Does that sound right as you look back? And so you can reflect on that too.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty cool. And then it gives you a graph. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
So you can see the graph of your stress. And so this is something that if you are somebody who has some kind of like chronic health issues, any autoimmune issues, gut issues, migraine headache, whatever it is that could be causing some kind of disruption in your health or dis-ease, this is really a valuable tool to have, because now you can look at it and you go, oh, maybe that's why I'm not sleeping at night, because my cortisol is so high during the day for too long that it's not allowing me to sleep. It's firing in the middle of the night. My adrenals want to have a party at 3 a.m. and that's not good either. So it is really good to be able to, it's kind of like, okay, I'm looking at my food app. I'm drilling down there. You can look at your stress app. You can drill down there and you can start to see what habits are leading you towards this dis-ease. So if it's food, if it's lifestyle, if it's lack of steps, lack of exercise, there's even a breathing and meditation part of this app. So you can hit it at any time of day. It'll take you through some kind of a guided breath work or meditation or just some kind of like brain calming. So I feel like it's like your best friend, you know, right alongside you, telling you, okay, chill out, or no, you got to do more of this, or hey, you're doing great. Today's the day. Like a few days ago, it said you had a great sleep. Today would be a great day to work on creativity. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I hadn't seen that one. Where it tells you your brain is great today. Tap into your brain power today.
Yeah, no, that's so great. It's been just a game changer. And maybe we can actually even talk. I was just looking over the year end review, and it kind of gives you, you know, it just gives you just great info of the year. And I'm looking forward to, especially now that I have the Gen 3, just really starting to take that and really run with it with my health. And actually I have quite a few patients that are getting them now. And it's nice to just be able to grab their phone, check their app, help them change this for that, you know, get this while you drink, you know, did you have a drink last night? Like you start to really, I've been with it for, I don't know, 5 years maybe at this point. So I have a lot of,
I think I have too. Yeah,
a lot of experience with it. And it's been just an awesome thing. And it's discreet, and it's not putting EMFs around your body on a regular basis, like the Apple Watch or, you know, the Fitbit or the Whoop, or I don't know that the Whoop does, but yeah, it's kind of just taken the tracking industry by storm, and I love it. So
was that you telling me that you had a patient that had burn marks from their Apple Watch?
My brother, one of my brothers, so he had an Apple Watch, and underneath it, he had an actual burn mark because it was putting out so much energy, EMFs for sure, but just so much energy, and in just in that one area that he got like a surface burn underneath there, like just slowly doing that. So that's what the other part that I love about it. It's also, I know you adjust with a watch, but I don't like a wrist anything, you know, when I'm adjusting and all that. But
well, and that's the thing too. I like to wear a pretty watch. So I don't care what kind of band you put around an Apple Watch. It's still an ugly ass Apple Watch. Like,
oh, I love that. Silly Lily just said, news of world events. My husband noticed I was anxious, and he said to observe, not and don't absorb. That's really great. And especially as we finish the year, my office manager came back and she's like, oh, Newscomb over in California is like, everybody needs to get the bird flu vaccine. Just like all the madness is going to start. So observe, don't absorb. I'm going to write that down. Actually, I would love to talk about that in the future. I'm like super pinchy with time. So we should wrap this up here really quickly.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I wanted to,
and just a quick comment, turn off the news. That's another way to, right?
I'm always writing notes
Thanks
here.
for that, Silly Lily. I have heard that before and I forgot about that statement, and it is really, that's a good one. So we're going to do a whole show on that. Thanks to you. So we appreciate you being here for sure. So, okay, you guys. So next week, just to wrap up, Dr. Erica will be out of town. So we're going to take next week off. So we won't see you, but I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year, because we'll be back then on the second. Is it the second? Yeah, the second.
Second is the Thursday. Yeah. So that'll be my first day back in the practice. I'm taking the week off, but I am looking forward to what's ahead. We are going to, in mid-January, connect together, Dr. Paula and I, and get some of the audio ripped off and shoved up onto the audio platforms, as we've been saying for the last ripped and shoved up there. We've been saying that now for a year though, and time just freaking flies. And I hope that as you guys go through the holidays, that you just have just some really nice time to sit back, take in the Christmas spirit, which is just about like just that high vibe energy, not about the stuff. Making sure you're eating and consuming high vibe foods, and drinking your water and getting your rest, and taking the time to like breathe and think. I go away for the week and I literally walk and think and sit and think and read.
It's like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I did. I walked, I think it was like 87 miles last year. I did in the 7 days that I was there, just because it's like, we got to have time to process. We got to set the stuff down. And that's part of our health as well. So,
yeah. Well, you have an amazing trip. And yes, we're going to get our new podcast up. I did hear that statistically, most people who start podcasts don't make it past 4 episodes. And we have been going for 52 weeks strong. I'm sure we missed a couple of weeks in there, holidays.
I think we've done more. So we're probably
for sure
for 60 episodes. So
we know we're onto this, and we're going to stay here for you guys, and we're just going to make everything better. So make sure you leave us a comment so we know how can we serve you best in this world of health and wellness, and help make 2025 your best year yet. So thanks everybody. Have an incredible holiday, and we'll see you all soon.